appears that MAGA world is not happy with Mike Pillow. Now, recently, Trump's pillow fluffer put out a new conspiracy theory that perhaps Ron DeSantis, that's Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida, actually didn't win his election. Drums.
But, you know, a lot of my team, at least the cyber team and the IT people, do you know what county in the country I'm having them focus on?
What?
For the next couple weeks?
What? Which one?
It is, just hold on a second. Go talk there. I'm gonna see if I'm getting advice from my attorney here, not to.
So he was going to say Dade County. And he said, I don't believe it regarding DeSantis's 10-plus point triumph in that election. He said, so it's just going to show everybody, just like we always tell you about Democrats when they stole their elections. They didn't. I'm going to find out if Dade County, what happened there. Which would be nothing, you know, because nothing happened. Look, and by the way, I'm not a fan of Ron DeSantis, but there's no evidence that Ron DeSantis stole the election in Florida. I mean, come on. What this is, and it's very clear, right, that it's just Mike Pillow trying to help Donald Trump knock out one of his biggest potential rivals in the upcoming primary. Now, look, Ron DeSantis hasn't declared, but we all know that it's likely going to happen. Why is that? Because this is Ron DeSantis' best chance. You see all these Republicans lining up to support DeSantis. You have, of course, the entire Murdoch press that is essentially pushing him. New York Post specifically publishing anti-Trump stories. Of course, there's stuff about his taxes and things like that. And so, yeah, they want Ron DeSantis. Your Candace Owens going to Ron DeSantis. That's, of course, pissing off a lot of Ben Shapiro also going for Ron DeSantis. And so you're going to inevitably have pushback on that. And this is part of that, I believe. Now, what's funny is that mentioning some of those other conservative voices, well, the ones who endorsed Trump's voter fraud narrative are now suddenly laughing at Mike Pillow for putting forward a voter fraud narrative. Hilarious. In fact, let's go to James Lindsay. Ah, yes. Who wrote this? Everything down to the wording of this makes me think that Mike Lindell is a highly patriotic, but extremely vulnerable man, being used without his realizing it to discredit real election integrity efforts, which is evil and sad, if correct. So, look, what's interesting about that is he's actually kind of right about Mike Pillow. In the context of him being used by right-wingers, yes, it's true. Look, Mike Pillow is a disturbed man. He's had some serious issues. I think he still has serious issues. And look, there was reporting here by Jonathan Larson that we had talked about on the show, a long time ago. Came out that there was this evangelical group called The Family that sought out Mike Pillow in order to get access to his money. Essentially, they got him in touch with Trump after he met Trump. Of course, he started to believe that Donald Trump himself was anointed by God to be the president, and that, would make Mike Pillow, who was helping Trump, essentially an apostle. Interesting. Also crazy. Obviously. But Mike Pillow is convinced that he is special. And so that an attack on Trump or him is an attack on God. It is really strange how they just tie all this up into religion. But anyway, more criticism here. Former Newsmax TV host John Cardillo responded with this, quote, Lindell needs to go away. He's being interviewed by the guy he funds on his own network, spewing lunatic conspiracy theories. DeSantis did well in Florida because he did an amazing job for Florida. I'll disagree with that. He just did well in Florida because that's what Florida voters, apparently more of them, wanted. Lindell's BS is pathetic, and he should stop listening to grifters and using him for money. Again, really interesting. Because they all know that MyPillow is being used. And they were the ones using him. An editor at Red State also said this. I mean, DeSantis' victory margins are just as insane as this amazing new deal on MyPillow. If you go to MyPillow.com and put in your special code. Fun. And also, one last one. This response from Tim Pool, who just simply wrote, LOL, LOL. Well, there you go on that. It's so good. It's so good because this is a case of let them fight. It's a grifter fight. There's nothing better than a grifter fight. They're the best. So now, on Wednesday evening, Lindell doubled down on what he called deviations, right? So this is, again, related to his Florida audit of Dade County. And he said, I don't care. Before saying his investigation could take us upwards of 2 weeks to complete with cast vote records. I'm investigating the machines. They don't care if you were a Democrat or Republican. It's funny because they're so close. They're so close. It really does show you, though, that this is all, like, they all know it's bullshit. The right wing, when it comes to this election fraud stuff, all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Like their allegations of grooming, right? Against LGBTQ people, teachers, etc., right? They say, oh, no, it's, LGBTQ people, they're the groomers, right? They're drag queens, they're the groomers, they're grooming the children. No examples of that. But there's example after example after example of pastors and right-wing politicians that were caught grooming, exploiting children. I mean, and it's not like people don't, people like Anthony Weiner didn't exist. They do. He was caught sexting a 15-year-old. Obvious, right? That's a problem. But see, Anthony Weiner, you haven't heard much of him, have you? That's because he's been blacklisted by pretty much every Democrat and normal person because of what he did, and he deserved to be blackballed for that. Like, he's a creepy dude. But on the right wing, they take that and they ignore it. Oh, you're Roy Moore and you used to, stalk 14-year-olds at the mall? Try to pick them up? Not a problem. You're a good conservative, right? Oh, yes, you're a very, very, very good conservative. Oh, yeah, we're going to support you. Just example after example after example of that just hypocrisy. So, but really, the point that I'm trying to make here is the right wing is utterly incapable of admitting that the bad people on their side are actually bad. And they're actually doing bad things. Because they will rush to defend them because, of course, it's this team mentality that you have. But what's funny is now it's really showing this inter-GOP civil war that's going on between, Trump supporters, DeSantis supporters. Well, they're showing that it's not really an issue until it gets in their way. Again, you have a lot of Republicans that are desperate to move away from Donald Trump. And it's because Donald Trump's a loser. Not because they disagree with Trump's policies. It's just that he's a loser. He lost the election, and his candidates were obliterated during the midterm elections. And these, people that were obliterated, they lost because they believed in Donald Trump's and were spreading Donald Trump's conspiracy theory about the election. And there were also people like, I don't know, Herschel Walker. Okay. Herschel Walker, not exactly the sanest person around.
This election is about the people.
Sure was. Sure was, Herschel. Sure was. Election was about something. But look, as I said, you have these people that have moved away from Trump, and they want Ron DeSantis. And of course, that's causing issues with the Trump defenders like Marjorie Taylor Greene, MyPillow, who are desperate to get Donald Trump back into power. So now that said, the Daily Beast did interview Mr. MyPillow, and he had some interesting things to say. They explained the interview. This was a phone interview of MyPillow basically both backtracking and doubling down at the same time. And then you're going to love what he says about his critics. He said, while declaring that his investigation could reveal deviations, which would help get rid of these electronic voting machines, but then said, if we don't find wrongdoing in Miami-Dade County, he said his team would be able to state the whole country is redder than red. What we could find in Miami-Dade County is where they did not do any cheating at all, saying that his investigation could become a blueprint to prove voter fraud in other states. I read that correctly. Just to note, I didn't misstate what I read. That's verbatim. He basically just said, by not proving voter fraud in Miami-Dade County, that somehow translates into proving voter fraud across the country. What? By not proving or proving that there was no voter fraud, you will somehow prove voter fraud at the same time. That doesn't make any sense. That's the rantings of a lunatic. How do you get that? But the words for his new critics are the best part. He said, quote, and I just read you, James Lindsay, Tim Pool, etc. They must have ownership in Dominion. I think they're all probably part owners in Dominion, or they hate our country. Oh, it's so good. Oh, let them fight.